Welcome, friend. I'm Jack, host of the channel, and today we're diving into another episode. Pour yourself a drink and get comfortable, because I've got a powerful story coming your way. If something hits deep, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get into it.
Some days just refuse to go your way, no matter what you do or say. As the head of the household, the weight of responsibility feels overwhelming, especially on days like this. My day began abruptly at 7 a.m. when the police woke me up, reporting a break-in at my bar. Rushing out the door, I discovered my car had a flat tire, just another blow after only 4 hours of sleep. I borrowed my wife's car and headed to the bar, only to find the liquor supply mostly stolen and the entrance smashed in. The police labeled it as a robbery, and after the insurance agent documented the damage, I boarded up the entrance, awaiting repairs. At least the insurance would cover the losses until we could reopen. Around lunchtime, just as I was about to head home, a man approached me, calling out, "Melody, wait!" He quickly realized his mistake, apologized, and hurried off. Later at home, I described the encounter to my wife, Melody, but she couldn't place the man. When she asked why I borrowed her car earlier, I explained the break-in and my tire trouble. After a quick sandwich, I fixed my truck's burst valve stem, then ran a few errands, picking up some new clothes and a hat. Returning home, I found a note from Melody saying she'd gone shopping. My late shifts on Fridays and Saturdays meant I often came home in the morning, and after 12 years, I finally shaved my beard. The change was so drastic I barely recognized myself, but despite this, I decided to explore other bars in town that night. Heading out, I found Melody still absent. I sneaked into the bar through the back, changed into my new clothes, and found some reading glasses to complete my transformed appearance. With a clean shave and glasses, I looked much younger, almost like a college student. Realizing my truck was too recognizable, I called a cab to take me to a car rental service, where I chose a white, inconspicuous Ford. Starting from the north of town, I visited different bars, observing and learning at each stop. I studied the staff, ambience, clientele, and prices, gathering insights for when I reopened my own establishment. At the 7th spot, a hangout for university students by the Mississippi River, everything changed. Walking into New City Jack, I spotted my wife, Melody, dancing intimately with another man. Anger surged through me, especially when I realized it was the same man who had called out to her earlier. It was clear she'd been lying to me. Melody wore an eye-catching outfit, revealing plenty of cleavage. As a bartender, I knew appearances could be misleading, so I sought a place to observe. A guy offered me a seat in exchange for buying him a drink, and I accepted, ordering a double gin and tonic. They were regulars and explained that the place was always busy on weekends due to university students. Later, I casually asked about a woman in revealing attire, and one of the redheads at the table informed me that she was Melody Corbett, often seen with her boss, Payne Richards. They were regulars and possibly more than friends, given Melody's complicated situation with her husband, who was often out of town. They mentioned that Melody and Payne usually left together before the last set of the band. I thanked the table, bought another round, and then said goodnight. Outside, as I deflated her car tires, I was caught by a redhead named Carrie Ann, who worked with them. She revealed that everyone at the table did too. "How did you know who I was?" I asked. "I didn't," she replied, "but I could tell from your expression that you've been struggling to hide your feelings all night, and your gaze lingered on her too often. It all clicked when I saw you tampering with her car. Your earlier questions made me wonder what her husband might do if he found out," Carrie explained. "So, here I am to find out if my suspicions are correct. You don't work on oil rigs, do you?" "Maybe we should talk later," I suggested. "I'm using the white Ford Taurus over there," I added. "Bada Street Bar is closed after being trashed this morning," I confessed. "Melody thinks I'm still there. I used tonight to scope out the competition, visiting different bars." "Take the keys," Carrie said, taking them from me. "I don't want you involved if someone else catches me. You work at Basia on Bada Street? It's got a great reputation," she noted, leaving me later. I joined her in the car, relieved nobody else was around. "Where to?" Carrie asked. "Somewhere private," I replied. This is my apartment, plus I needed a ride home, Carrie grinned. It was a 20-minute drive to her modular home outside of town, where I was surprised to see another car in the driveway. That's my car. Susan, the brunette from our group, gave me a ride. It helps fend off unwanted attention if you say you're with a friend, she explained. I texted her saying I took a cab home. It was a pristine house, barely used. She fetched us beers, and we settled in for a chat. Carrie Ann, thank you for intervening. I was at a loss, I admitted. You made me realize I might have overreacted. He doesn't pay. They have a monthly room at the Rada Inn on 4th. If you follow them, you'll see them heading there after closing, Carrie divulged. She arrives in jeans and a t-shirt, but leaves in dressier attire, returning a few hours later still in jeans. How do you know all this? I inquired. My brother manages there, she replied. He's on duty Wednesday through Sunday. They've been involved for over a year, Carrie replied. Melody told him you work on oil rigs, gone for months, implying an open relationship. Seeing my shock, she continued, You had no clue at all? No, I didn't, I admitted. First, I need evidence. Second, her parents support my bar. I owe them $20,000. I'll speak with my brother, see what he can do. Maybe they have footage or she could get a key card, Carrie suggested. I'll see him next Friday at our parents' anniversary. We swapped contact information before I left. I wanted to witness their reaction to her flat tire, helping confirm Carrie's claims. I returned to the bar just before closing, relieved the parking lot was well lit. Before they turned off the lights, Melody and Payne emerged, holding hands and exchanging quick kisses. He unlocked her car door, but they noticed the flat tire. Checking, they found them all flat. Though I couldn't hear, their actions suggested a long-term relationship. Payne called for a tow, and within 20 minutes, a truck arrived to inflate the tires. They left for the Rada Inn, confirming Carrie's tip. Later, Melody, with damp hair and a Macy's bag, returned home. It's painful to realize your spouse has betrayed you. I returned the car, took a cab to retrieve my truck, and arrived home at 5 a.m., crashing on the couch. She remained oblivious to her exposed affair. Melody and I met on a double date, and her captivating eyes drew me in instantly. Despite her father's strictness, she won me over, and I visited her every weekend against my father's wishes, slowly winning him over with persistence. She pursued college while I opted for online business courses while working. By her sophomore year, she was engaged, coinciding with the bar being put up for sale the following summer. Visiting with her father, we discussed renovating the dark, outdated bar. He agreed, lending me money from his retirement fund at a 6% interest rate and assisting in the renovation. Together, we transformed it significantly, cutting labor costs. Over a decade, I reduced the loan from $200,000 to under $20,000, doubling its worth. Melody's parents urged us to start a family, but she hesitated. I realized I wasn't deemed suitable to be a father. Quickly securing a commercial loan, I paid off her father, who in turn returned the final payment, having profited from selling the bar's plans. With his confirmation, I cleared the bank loan, leaving only an unsecured overdraft. Repairs and alterations were underway at my bar, yet my wife remained clueless, consumed by her own world. Friday night, disguised again, I tampered with her car's exhaust and his company car's gas tank. Inside their favorite bar, they were oblivious to everything but each other, their behavior drawing attention. Carrie Ann stayed close, offering support. I discreetly bribed the bartender for a video of the competition, urging discretion. He inquired about my plan, and I whispered, "For your eyes only." After verifying my ID, he grinned, eager to assist in getting back at the cheating woman. He hinted at obtaining Spanish Fly for a special after-hours party next Saturday, aligning perfectly with the bar's reopening on Thursday. Spanish Fly, a potent aphrodisiac, was often prescribed to couples struggling with fertility. That stormy night, feigning sleep, I heard Melody return home at 3 a.m., engaging in a lengthy phone call. The next morning, I rose early, and with her unlocked phone, I discovered her conversations with Payne. After realizing I was home, she had forgotten to erase her messages. One message caught my attention, addressed to her older sister. "Sis, I need an alibi for last night. I'm going to say I was with you." I discreetly snapped a photo with my cell phone. Later, Melody explained she had visited her siblings on Tuesday. Carrie Ann called, suggesting a meetup at the highway truck stop. Arriving, she greeted me with a warm smile, capturing my image for her contacts, despite my new mustache and goatee. Melody remains oblivious, I noted. "Hi, Red," I greeted her, noting her happiness. "I'm Caleb," she corrected. "You'd be happy too once you see the info my brother shared. He asked you to cover his printing costs." We ordered breakfast, me opting for eggs, sausage, and bacon, Carrie choosing a cheese omelet, both with orange juice and coffee. The info revealed Melody had her own key card to his room for over 6 months, used regularly on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. I showed Carrie the incriminating message from my wife. "What's your plan?" Carrie inquired. "Are you considering a divorce?" "There's a special party next Saturday for Melody and Payne. I hope to receive plenty of video evidence. It's going to be wild. Once I gather everything, I'll show it to her father to explain why she doesn't want my kids. Simultaneously, she'll be served with divorce papers in their hotel room, all caught on tape. When it's ready, email it to me, please." "Why?" Carrie questioned. "Payne's corporate car is totaled, and there's a foul odor coming from Melody's car. I'd suggest to our company that an upset husband may be to blame." "When should it be sent?" I asked, masking my satisfaction. It's quite poetic that she's being served at the same time. Carrie chuckled. "May I mention you?" I burst into laughter. "You can be quite an idiot," Carrie joined in. "And yes, you may use my name." I executed it perfectly, I smirked. "I'll never spill the details. We arranged for medication through our doctor, and I discreetly switched her birth control pills with sugar pills, buying myself time. I had a stroke of bad luck the other night when someone ran a red light on my way to work, totaling my truck and causing a pileup. Rescuers had to use the jaws of life to free me, and I was taken to the hospital for a thorough checkup. Melody and her parents met me there, and after 6 hours of examination, I was released with instructions to rest for at least 2 days and avoid driving for a week. Melody stayed home to care for me, and by Saturday, I was eager to return to the bar. While getting ready, I overheard Melody making plans for a night out. I asked her to drop me off at the bar, pretending to check on the changes I had made. Sales doubled that night, thanks to the new cook I had hired, and we were sold out for the evening. We began attracting lunch customers with our daily specials that complemented the bar's theme. The restaurant closed at 8 o'clock, offering pickled eggs or sausages afterward. An elderly gentleman, retired but restless, proposed a partnership, setting up his kitchen and demanding 10% of profits. His scratch-made dishes like shepherd's pie and Irish stew garnered rave reviews, necessitating new kitchen staff. Around 8:30, Carrie Ann entered with her friend Susan, looking stunning in Irish-themed attire. They sat at a table, enjoying the folk music and Irish standards. Carrie Ann's green ensemble drew attention, and I treated them to specialty drinks, saying, "Compliments of the house." "Hey, Caleb," Carrie Ann said. "Thanks for remembering our preferences. This is my friend Susan." I shook Susan's hand as she excused herself briefly. Opting for a ginger ale, I avoided drinking in my own bar, a promise I'd kept for a decade. Returning to the table, Carrie Ann shifted seats to sit beside me, while Susan seemed unfazed, taking the seat early. Carrie Ann announced before others arrived, "Susan, Caleb is Melody's ex-husband." "Really?" Susan exclaimed. "Yeah, that's true," I confirmed. "When we first met, I was exploring the town while my bar was under renovation. Carrie caught me doing something I shouldn't have, and after a conversation, I ended up giving her a ride home. We've been friends ever since." "He had no clue about his wife's actions while he was at work," Carrie Ann explained. "That's why we're here today. I wanted to make sure he wasn't alone," she added. "Why choose this place?" Susan questioned. "It's known as a high-class spot." I chuckled. I'll take that as a compliment, though it wasn't my intention when designing it. I just wanted a nice place to bring my girlfriend. Caleb not only built this bar, he owns it, Carrie Ann mentioned. Carrie and I exchanged a glance at Susan's surprised expression. Soon the place filled up, and when the team arrived, our table was packed. Carrie Ann and Susan kept me on the dance floor all night, much to the delight of my staff, who noted the unusually crowded dance floor. Surprisingly, everyone agreed the music volume was just right loud enough to enjoy without overpowering conversation. Closing time came, and I asked Carrie Ann for a ride home, where she shared that most of the crew preferred our bar over others as it wasn't geared towards the university singles crowd. This pleased me as word of mouth expanded our clientele. Sunday morning, waking up to find Melody absent didn't surprise me. I spent 2 hours trying to locate her, feigning concern while calling family members and confiding in Carrie Ann. As I was speaking with her, I received another call, this time from my father-in-law. "Hey, Dad," I greeted. "Still no word, huh?" "No, Caleb, that's why I'm calling. Mary and I decided to brunch at the Rada Inn on 4th. Wish we hadn't. Melody's car is parked here," he revealed. "I'm stuck without my truck. Dad, can't make it. You guys enjoy lunch. I'll catch up later," I replied, sounding concerned. My father-in-law was strict, sticking firmly to his beliefs. He saw the world in black and white, finding Anderson Cooper's truth questionable. He was surprised I lacked tattoos, but I valued self-respect. Our society, I argued, prioritizes self-interest over community. We debated law and order, one side preaching responsibility, the other endorsing irresponsibility. Racism had become a political weapon, branding dissenters as enemies. I remarked, if Napoleon were alive, he'd applaud their tactics. To them, their followers were just a minority, too wise to adhere to their doctrines. Oppose them, and you're labeled a racist, facing molestation and attacks. Now they infiltrate democratically governed cities, masked, imposing their brand of social justice on us. They only want to hear their beliefs echoed, though leadership promises investigations and charges. We both know it's unlikely. Equal justice is a bygone ideal, he agreed. The situation will worsen before improving. It mirrors Napoleon's rise to power, a history lesson repeating itself. It's disheartening. One party reintroduces such a divisive culture. These attitudes once sparked the Civil War, raising fears of a repeat. Dad, I concluded, this is our reality now. Melody's father, if he caught her with a lover, might react violently. I informed him of her secret outings, attaching evidence. Updating Carrie Ann, she laughed, asking what I was up to, and I said, besides smiling, not much. Want me to come get you so we can hang out? She offered. I admitted I'd love to, but felt it's best not to vanish, given their worries. It was around 6 p.m., and as I sat in the kitchen devouring pizza, a car pulled into the driveway. Peering out, I recognized Melody's dad alone. He appeared utterly defeated. Welcoming him inside, I fetched Maker's whiskey and offered him a slice of pizza on a clean plate. Dad, it's serious. After your call, I talked to Mandy first to confirm my suspicions, he explained. I asked the hotel's day manager to contact the night manager early. Turns out Melody's been having an affair for over 6 months. Mandy found out and agreed to keep it quiet, thinking Melody wanted to enjoy a wild, carefree life before settling down. I feigned shock, but partly I was genuinely surprised by Mandy's honesty. As I was leaving, Melody appeared with her lover, wearing a proud grin like he'd won a prize. I was so shocked I nearly passed out. It took both managers to pull me away, he recounted. I came here because I figured it'd be the last place the cops would search. Dad, I'll call Mom first to let her know you're safe. Then I'll check with the Rada Inn manager about pressing charges, I assured him. My mother-in-law was devastated, but thanked her husband for visiting me. Melody called to apologize, but her mother wasn't having it. Your apology means nothing, she retorted. You've caused enough trouble already. Afterward, I called Jason Lasher to settle a $5 debt. He joked about his sister, reminding me she never forgets. He chuckled, suggesting paying him in front of her to finally put it to rest. "Why?" I inquired. "It'll save us both a lot of trouble," he replied. "She needs to learn to let go." I assured him of my intentions, explaining, "I'm still married and won't make any decisions until then." I promised to be careful, reassuring him. He then informed me that the police hadn't been called, and Payne agreed not to press charges, thanks to Melody's persuasion. "Thanks, Jason," I said, relieved. I shared the good news with Dad before telling Mom. Seeing the relief wash over his face, "What's your plan to fix this?" he asked, visibly concerned. I took out my phone and drafted a message for Melody, showing it to her father. It read, "Dad just informed me of everything. Congratulations, you've successfully dismantled our family in a single day. Don't return home. The Melody I knew is gone. If you choose him over us, our marriage ends now. Otherwise, it's a slow pathway over the next 6 months." I delivered it earnestly, knowing trust, once broken, can't be restored. "Let's end this marriage swiftly and with dignity," he declared, sending the message. "Mary always said Melody married her father. This only proved her right." After pizza and drinks, we headed to Lumberland for 3 deadbolt locks. Soon after installation, the family arrived. Mandy's parents, Jack and Mary, along with their adorable kittens. They left around 10 o'clock. I texted Carrie Ann. "Are you awake?" She promptly called back. "Are you all right?" Jason called and filled me in, Carrie inquired. "Payne's got 2 black eyes and a broken nose. Your father-in-law gave him a punching before Jason intervened." I chuckled, replying, "He used to box amateur when he was younger." "I'd love to witness that," I remarked. "After the incident, he came here lost. I learned from your brother that no charges were filed, so I updated the family. They had gathered to discuss the situation and had already left." "What about Melody?" Carrie inquired. I shared that my father-in-law had posed the same question. I mentioned sending Melody a message and asked him to read it, to which he responded, "Let's end this marriage with dignity," and sent it. "Your father-in-law spoke for you. Couldn't you forgive her and give her another chance?" Carrie questioned. "No. To him, she's shattered trust beyond repair. He sees things in black and white. She made her choice, and she'll have to live with it." "Consequences be damned," I asserted. "I'm with him," I added. "He even helped me change the locks." "Any updates on last night?" Carrie Ann inquired. "Haven't had a chance to check. Been swamped," I chuckled. "But I suppose it doesn't matter now." "I'll stick to my promise given until Monday night," Carrie assured. "From what I've gathered, it might surprise you." "Why is that?" I asked. "Word is the bartender at New City Jack has a history in certain types of videos," Carrie chuckled. "If that's true, it wouldn't shock me if he took advantage of the situation." "Are you serious?" I queried. "Absolutely, Caleb. But back to business. When's our official first date?" "How about on the day Melody gets served?" I suggested with a grin. "I'll even arrange for her to be served at the office. Remember, you're sending red roses beforehand. I want to drive home the point that she's violated my standards of fidelity," Carrie remarked. "Tomorrow at work will be quite intriguing." After ending the call, I reflected on what I knew about Carrie Ann. She was around 24, unmarried, and attractive, standing about 5'8" inches tall. While not extremely slender, she possessed a figure my grandfather would have deemed fit for starting a family. Despite working in the same regional office of the dental company as Melody and her lover, she wasn't part of the management team. As far as I knew, she was discerning about who she let into her life, maintaining close ties with her family and inner circle, which included me. Enjoying dancing and drinking, she was sociable like me. However, Carrie, with her cautious nature, left me with more questions than answers. Her level of education seemed higher than her current position suggested, hinting at underlying complexities. As I prepared for bed, I hummed, "Hey, Carrie Ann, what's the game anyone can play?" Anticipating the challenges of Monday, I arranged for my assistant to manage the bar until I resolved my personal matters. Mandy arrived with Jack's truck to assist in packing her sister's belongings. We stopped by a packing supplies store to ensure we did it properly, starting with a master bedroom. While I assembled the boxes, Mandy began sorting through dresser drawers. "Caleb, I'm appalled by my sister's actions," Mandy expressed. I never condoned it and stayed silent, hoping Melody would come to her senses. "When Dad told me about your message, I broke down and confessed the truth. I've only been aware of it for a month. He took it as his own failure, believing he didn't raise her properly. I think Mom feels the same way." "Mandy, I'm still grappling with my emotions. The night Melody texted you, I stumbled upon it accidentally. I was at the bar merely scouting the competition when I took that photo. My intention was to gather evidence for a confrontation. I never anticipated it would unravel like this, and I deeply regret it." "Didn't you inform her that the bar had been broken into and was closed?" she inquired. "I did, but looking back, I realized she heard but chose not to heed. I should have recognized it as her way of signaling the end of our marriage. Melody was always shielded by our father, as was I, Mandy believed. I needed to experience parenthood to grasp the sacrifices he made. I strive to instill those values in my children. Melody, even from a young age, lacked a sense of right and wrong. That trait persists, and I can't say I wish I had noticed it sooner." "I often think about your parents," I admitted. "Few can claim their father-in-law as one of their closest friends." As Mandy reached her sister's intimate garments, she requested sewing scissors, which I promptly supplied. Before packing Melody's underwear, she cut out the lap and between the cups of the bras, perhaps sending a message to her sister. All the altered items were tossed into a box. I appreciated her gesture, as I couldn't bring myself to do it. It took us roughly 4 hours to complete half of the task. I suggested treating her to lunch before resuming, and she agreed, taking me to a new Chinese restaurant named Yumi, offering an impressive array of food at a reasonable price. We arrived just as the lunch rush was winding down and encountered Payne on his way out, sporting 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and swollen lips. My father-in-law had certainly made an impact. "Mandy, my father did that to him," she exclaimed. "It'll take 2 months for it to heal. An eyewitness told me that your dad only hit him 3 times before they intervened." "From the looks of Payne, my dad still packs a punch," I remarked, surprising Mandy. If they hadn't stopped him, would Payne be in the hospital? "I'm not sure," I replied, stepping out of the car. As we approached the restaurant entrance, Payne emerged and urged Mandy to unblock Melody. "Payne, have you met my brother-in-law Caleb?" she asked. I stepped forward, and Payne's face paled as he realized I was the one driving Melody's car. He raised his fist, preparing for a fight. "If that's how you want it, Payne, fine. Mandy will confirm you started it," I said. As soon as she agreed, I swiftly kicked him in the groin, then punched him twice. I unleashed a flurry of punches until he collapsed, then delivered a final blow to finish it. Feeling a release, I escorted Mandy inside, where we were seated. I ordered unsweetened tea, and she opted for a cola. Before we ate, Mandy asked, "Did my dad teach you those moves?" "Not exactly, but it's part of my job to handle trouble when needed," I explained. I didn't want a fair fight. I wanted to end it quickly. As Mandy and I filled our plates, my phone rang. It was Melody, but I chose not to answer. "I think her boyfriend already gave her a call," I remarked. "Too bad he won't be giving her anything soon." Mandy burst into laughter, drawing attention. I vowed not to joke with her in public again. "That was hilarious. I almost peed myself," she chuckled. "I'm glad you didn't. How would you explain it to Jack?" "I might have yelled flash flood," I teased. "Stop it," she said, laughing once more. After lunch, we resumed packing until 5 o'clock when we unloaded at Jack's storage unit. I paid the deposit and rent, leaving the keys with the owner. I texted Melody to update her. My insurer called with a low offer for my totaled truck, so I requested a replacement with similar mileage. This would cost them more in the long run. Returning home, Carrie Ann and Susan were waiting. I introduced them to Mandy as Melody's colleagues and invited everyone inside. Mandy informed Jack of the situation, and we all relaxed with some beers. "We stopped by to check on you," Carrie said, "and to see if you'd like to join us for dinner," added Susan. "Several people had a rough day at work," she continued. "Payne was seriously injured this morning and went to the hospital this afternoon. Melody was apartment hunting during lunch." "I can't say I feel sorry for any of them," Mandy replied. "We spent the day moving Melody's stuff into storage. Caleb let me pack her underwear, making it easy access for her future lovers. I notified the company via email about Payne and Melody's misconduct," Carrie Ann explained. Attached was a picture of Payne's face after Melody's father caught them. "I made it clear that office romances, especially long-term affairs, were unacceptable." "Do you hate my sister that much?" asked Mandy. "No, I dislike her behavior. I come from a family where we're responsible for our actions," Carrie replied. "If we did something good, we were praised. If we did something bad, we faced consequences. I just think they got away with it for too long." I excused myself to take a call from the bar. Later, Carrie filled me in on what I missed. "So, Carrie Ann, how long have you been in love with Caleb?" asked Mandy sincerely. "The night I met him," Carrie recounted, "he discovered his wife's affair. I saw him control his anger until he left the scene. Instead of confronting her publicly, he deflated her tires. He didn't want me involved, showing his consideration. He was prepared to face consequences alone. We talked that night. He didn't curse or humiliate her. He sought evidence to explain gently to his father-in-law why Melody didn't want children." "Caleb has always been empathetic," Mandy added. "He acts as a peacemaker in family issues despite his own pain. You have my approval, but if you hurt him, I won't hesitate to act." "When your father found out about Melody and Payne, he came here to be with Caleb," Carrie revealed. "Did you know he sent the text that ended their marriage?" "No, I didn't. That explains why they didn't discuss our attempt to reconcile," Mandy responded. "Call Jack and the kids to meet us at the bar," I instructed. "I'm making dinner for everyone, including Susan and Carrie. Give me a moment to change." Upon returning, I found Mandy gone and Susan in the kitchen. Carrie had cleaned up, and we exchanged appreciative words. "I like your sister," Carrie remarked. "I think we'll be good friends." "She speaks highly of you, too," I replied. As she embraced me, we shared a moment that hinted at what was to come. Walking hand in hand, we headed to the car, sharing smiles with Susan. Carrie took the front seat, and I sat in the back with a sense of anticipation. Susan remarked on our slow progress. Carrie said, "We're taking small steps until we sort out this mess. I want to be a stay-at-home mom with a husband who shares my values." Arriving at the bar, Mandy's children greeted us enthusiastically. Mandy mentioned how well I connect with her daughters, often calming them down. I noted the need for more bar stools. Mandy parked the truck at her husband's store. The shepherd's pie received praise even from older patrons. Carrie, seated next to me, shared a dessert made by the chef. Carrie tasted my drink, surprised to find it was non-alcoholic. She whispered teasingly, and I responded with a promise I made to myself about not drinking before opening the bar. Tears welled in her eyes, and she looked proud. My assistant reported increased sales at the bar and over $1,000 in food sales. I paid my bill with my debit card, emphasizing the importance of honesty to my employees. "Not everyone agrees," Carrie said, "but if you think about it, it adds up." I left a 20% tip when settling the bill. Then Susan and Carrie drove me home. Opening my email, I found a video from a bartender named Jack showcasing the events of Saturday night. It was titled "Surviving University Night" and featured Melody and Payne. The video included legally witnessed contracts and was now for sale on an adult site. I texted Carrie the update, noting that Melody would ensure her parents never saw it. Later, Carrie arrived, noticeably transformed. "I'm stunned," I managed to say. "Who are you, and what have you done with my Carrie Ann?" "Do you like it?" Carrie responded. "I've transformed my appearance for good. Your message allows me to explain I've been working undercover as an investigator for the FDA within Richards Dental Supply Corporation for over 2 years, Carrie Ann revealed. They've been selling contaminated materials from China, hiding their sources through multiple companies. Most buyers unknowingly have lead in their dental products. Payne, with a history of stalking married women, poses a threat to Melody. And then I came along and diverted your attention, I interjected. Is Susan also an agent? I asked. Yes, she is. We met in college while studying accounting, Carrie explained. Before we proceed, I need you to pass the video and any related information to my FBI contact. The bartender at New City Jack is involved in similar activities as Melody and Payne. Your input could help dismantle their operation. We sent it jointly. I poured her a glass of white wine and grabbed a cold beer for myself. As we chatted, her phone rang. It's my mom, she said. I offered her privacy, but she declined, so I put it on speakerphone. Hi, Mom. Looks like you got my message, Carrie said, smiling. Did you really say you were leaving the FDA? Her mom asked. Yes, Susan and I will wrap up this week, then start our own firm, Carrie explained. We'll testify when needed but plan to stay local for now. We've been urging you to settle down for years. Why now? Her mom inquired. Mom, why did you move back home? Carrie laughed. Okay, Mom, Carrie said. I met someone who's piqued my interest enough to consider settling. Is this the Caleb you've mentioned? Asked Carrie's mother. Mom, that's enough. Goodbye, Carrie said, ending the call. Empty nest syndrome, right? I joked. Tomorrow I have a divorce lawyer appointment. Susan and I are leaving Richards, Carrie disclosed. The FDA is stepping in on Wednesday. They want us out before executing warrants, even though they already know where to look. Carrie left around 1 on Tuesday. I sorted the rental car with the insurance company, then headed to the lawyer's office to start the divorce process. I was the first to arrive at her place that day. She asked for proof, so I recounted the entire story and let her listen to my conversation with my father-in-law. I also provided printouts from the Ramada Inn. It would strengthen our position if she agrees to my proposed settlement, I explained. We should arrange a meeting with her and her attorney to show them what's on this flash drive. It depicts what occurred last Saturday night. With their consent, I've even forwarded the email confirming it. What makes you certain she won't contest this? My feminist lawyer inquired. Take the flash drive home and watch the 2-hour video alone. I keep the business. She gets the house, no alimony, I suggested. And if she refuses, she pressed? Then every family member will receive a copy anonymously, I stated, rising to leave. Caleb, she sighed, can you always be this ruthless? Only when someone's actions leave me no alternative, I responded. She made me realize the last 12 years of my life were largely wasted, I reflected. Meanwhile, Carrie and Susan resigned in person from their employer's office. Melody, the office manager, was stunned by their departure. Filling their roles would pose a challenge. Payne, visibly injured, spent the day in his office, fielding calls from headquarters. Aware his position was secure due to family ties, he agreed to cover the cost of 2 company cars from his own pocket. It was made clear he must either marry the woman or terminate her employment post-divorce. After quitting my lawyer's office, I went to a real estate broker I knew. I wanted to find out what office buildings were for sale in the area. One of them, he thought, could be a gold mine if the new owner could find a respectable anchor. It was only 5 blocks to downtown from the Basia store on Basia Street. It was now owned by the bank I was dealing with. He said he thought the bank was getting tired of wearing it. With a little facelift, interior painting, and landscaping, the 3-story building could be cleaned up quickly and attract attention. After looking him over, I agreed. We went back to his office and wrote up a proposal with a low price, contingent on getting financing and inspection approval. I asked him if I could show the potential client a space that I thought would be perfect for him. He gave me the keys and told me to bring them in tomorrow around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I texted, "Could you and Susan swing by the bar? I need to show you both something." She quickly said, "Sure. I called my father-in-law and asked if he had an hour or two to spare. He asked me why. I explained that I was afraid I had to sell the bar to settle the divorce case and needed to start getting ready for a fresh start. I had an office building I was considering, and I wanted his opinion. He agreed, and I picked him up. We walked through the building, checking out the electrical. He pointed out a few things that the building inspector wouldn't notice, but could be used as bargaining chips. He asked, "What are they asking for?" I told him, and then disclosed what I was offering. "Smart move," he said. "You can always go up, but you can't go down. Personally, I think you should go for it. You need a couple of new anchors. Do you have someone in mind?" I said, "Just two ladies who are starting their own accounting firm, which is now working with Melody and me since I may be forced to sell Basia." He grinned, offering, "If you secure it, I'll assist in renovating the space to accommodate both of you. It's more spacious than your current location, with ample parking. Mandy speaks highly of them. She believes they're trustworthy." "Thanks, Dad," I acknowledged. "Do you reckon Melody will stake a claim on your business in the divorce?" he inquired. "The Melody I once knew probably won't, but the one I'm divorcing likely will," I responded. "She'll shift blame onto me to justify her actions." My father-in-law looked taken aback. "But that's not accurate. That's not what you and I know," I asserted. "Name one scenario aside from a legal contract where truth would influence a decision." "I can't, and neither can you," he lamented. "In divorce proceedings, it all hinges on what the judge believes. If Melody and I had kids, I'd be doomed in any court's eyes," I replied. "But it's unjust," he insisted. "Dad, we share your sentiment, but we're in the minority. We still cling to notions of right and wrong. Nowadays, most only prioritize themselves. The era when society benefited collectively is long gone," I remarked. "Evidence of that is the growing homelessness in California, the so-called promised land for most. Reality is what the media feeds them on a given day, and it's fleeting," I remarked. Later at the bar, my realtor informed me that they accepted the offer, but wouldn't provide financing despite my loyalty. I began seeking financing through LendingTree.com, providing my tax returns for the past 5 years to demonstrate my commitment. Susan, Carrie, and I strolled through the vacant ground floor of the building I aimed to purchase, formerly a call center. I outlined my vision for a new bar and restaurant, then inquired about their office space requirements. "We can't afford the finishing costs," Susan admitted. "That's why we're seeking move-in-ready options." Determined, I resolved to cover the expenses myself and develop the space. As the bar gains traction, I'll know about financing by Friday. I anticipate acquiring the building below its appraised value, I assured them. Melody's dad will assist with construction, reducing expenses significantly. "Why go through all this?" Carrie questioned. "The court might compel me to sell Basia as part of the divorce settlement, so I'm planning ahead," I explained candidly. "Draft your needs for the next 2 years," I instructed. "I'll proceed from there." Susan raised another possibility. "What if you don't need to sell the bar?" "My assistant's promotion and my surgeries necessitate contingency planning," I replied, wincing at Wednesday's pain. Melody, accompanied by her parents and the FDA, made rounds to all regional offices and headquarters. She received a copy of my divorce petition citing infidelity. By Friday, Melody and Payne departed for Richard's headquarters. Finalizing the deal, I managed to secure an additional $250,000 for remodeling. We commenced interior renovation on the ground floor, stripping it down to concrete walls and essentials. Our draftsmen crafted detailed plans, incorporating an elevator shaft for 3 floors and additional plumbing for Carrie and Susan's section. Contractors installed 2 entrances, one from the street and another from the main lobby. I had to excavate concrete for a new elevator shaft and erect an interior concrete wall. Simultaneously, Carrie and Susan flew to Washington every Sunday, returning Friday, assisting as much as possible. Negotiations between my soon-to-be ex's lawyer and mine were futile. Fed up, I arranged a meeting between all parties, prepared for confrontation. After completing the elevator shaft, I sandblasted the building to restore its original color and refresh the red brick. The crew upgraded the flat roof, then turned to interior renovations. Her office featured restrooms, a lunchroom, a reception area, and 6 offices. Mine included public restrooms, a storage area, and a band platform with a dance floor. Contractors completed her section within 2 weeks. 2 more office buildings were acquired nearby. 2 were sold and converted into a new Bank of America branch. The local paper heralded neighborhood redevelopment. My meeting with my ex and her lawyer was set for Friday. The kitchen equipment arrived and was set up on the white tile floor. An oak bar counter was constructed, and dark pine laminate flooring was laid. Electrical work was completed on both sides. Tables, chairs, and restaurant booths were ordered and scheduled for delivery on Monday. All of this was accomplished in less than 2 months. My real estate agent secured a long-term tenant, a legal team occupying the 2nd and 3rd floors, covering mortgage, taxes, and associated expenses. At a meeting with my attorney, Melody revealed her desire for me to embrace fatherhood. I listened to her claims skeptically, laughing at her assertion of still being on birth control when conception occurred. I proposed a DNA test to validate her claim, then instructed my attorney to reveal the contents of the stick I provided. Melody paled upon learning it had over 2 million hits, each generating $5.99. As legally married partners at the time, I asserted entitlement to 5% of proceeds from her one-night adventure, a marital asset. I gave her the weekend to propose a fair agreement. Otherwise, I threatened to make the contents of the disc public on Tuesday. The room fell silent. "I know who the father of your child is, Melody, and his name is Payne," I stated firmly before heading for the door. "You made your choice, face the consequences, and accept them." 10 minutes later, my divorce attorney called. "Caleb, with Melody's offer $350,000 in exchange for keeping the business and house, under the condition of silence about certain matters, and relinquishing rights to the movie. Draw up the settlement agreement," Caleb instructed, "but hold on to the funds until I'm satisfied." "When will the divorce be finalized?" Caleb inquired, eager to move forward. "I'll schedule a court date now, but it won't be legal until 30 days after the judge approves," the attorney explained. Dressed sharply, Caleb awaited Carrie and Susan's arrival at the airport with roses in hand, red for Carrie, yellow for Susan. Their faces lit up as they saw him, and he greeted them with checks in hand, symbolizing their financial agreements. With luggage in tow, they headed to Caleb's new sedan, purchased with a cash settlement he found acceptable before heading home. "I want to show you your finished offices," Caleb informed them. "The rest of the building is rented by a group of lawyers." Carrie inquired about the losses incurred, to which Caleb replied with a laugh, confirming it was indeed significant. In a subsequent meeting with their lawyers, Caleb presented evidence of Melody's earnings from the video, arguing that since it was filmed during their marriage, he was entitled to 50% of the income. Carrie shed tears of relief as I explained our new situation. I would retain my business, my house, and receive an additional $350,000. She had a week to remove any furniture she wanted from the house. "What are your plans for the house?" she asked. "I'll sell it," I replied. "I don't want past memories to hinder our future." Tears of joy streamed down Carrie's face. "You're still as slow as molasses in January," Susan remarked. "It took you over 2 months to express what I knew the night we met Mandy and her family, but when you finally do, you do it right." Even Susan, typically reserved, became emotional when she saw their newly approved offices. The warm, professional space, adorned with oak and pastel colors, impressed them all. "All that's left is to name the business, register it, and purchase office equipment and furniture," I said with a smile. "You ladies have a good eye for colors," Carrie said, embracing me. "I love you." Finally, I nodded and kissed her, signaling an end to holding back. Later, I accompanied Susan to Carrie's house, where they both now lived. It was Carrie's first time traveling home with me. We spent hours opening up to each other and catching up. After breakfast at our favorite deli, I took her to Gerard's to look at rings. She found one she loved but hesitated at the price. I insisted on buying it, envisioning it as a future gift for our daughter's 16th birthday. Even the salesperson was moved as she processed the sale. The first person Carrie called to share the news was Susan. We agreed to meet at Basia Restaurant on Basia Street at 6 o'clock. I suggested she invite her parents, eager for them to meet the man who convinced them to return home. I called Daniel, my former father-in-law, and his wife, whom I always addressed as Mom and Dad, inviting them over. They happily accepted. I shared with them that Melody and I reached a divorce agreement set for next week. Upon learning that Mel and Payne had announced their engagement yet hadn't spoken, I asked Mandy to bring the whole family. I arranged for the chef to prepare a special meal, explaining the occasion. He promised a traditional Irish lamb stew and cedar cookies, adding his own twist. The bartender was instructed to serve Irish coffee with fresh cream, except for me. Unexpectedly, a private table was reserved for us at the back of the restaurant for added privacy. Daniel and Mary, my in-laws, arrived first, allowing me to introduce Carrie to them. The surprise came when Carrie's well-known parents, Bob and Roseanne Lasher, joined us. It seemed Daniel kept them informed while at work. When Jack and Mandy arrived, their young children rushed to me, aged 4 and 3, embracing me tightly. Carrie opened her arms, and the younger ones gravitated toward her. During a lavish dinner, we shared the news that Carrie got her ring, stunning everyone with its size. Carrie explained how it happened and my response, bringing her mother to tears and earning approval from relatives. When Carrie said it was fine for me to call them Mom and Dad, I assured them they would always be Mom and Dad to me. The exceptional food delighted us as always. When the bill came, Carrie's father insisted on covering it. Despite wanting to protest, a nudge from Carrie stopped me. After everyone left except her parents, we recounted our story in detail. Bob asked why I never drank Irish coffee. Carrie explained my policy of abstaining from booze in my own establishments to set an example for employees. Impressed, Bob joked that our restaurant was fit for his daughter and friend, then praised the office design and my principles. Daniel regarded me as the son he never had, seeing me as someone who stands firm in his values. Off the record, Daniel is the father figure I never had. Growing up in a poor household without a father, my mother raised me and my sister alone after he left before they were even married. Meeting Daniel through Melody, I found him to be tough, street smart, and unyielding, yet always principled. He taught me invaluable lessons about strength and integrity, shaping who I am today. Daniel is my father, not by blood, but by choice, and I owe much of my moral compass to him. We stood in silence until the ladies returned, and then Carrie's father spoke, expressing approval of our relationship. He welcomed me into their family, a gesture that left Carrie in shock, as he had never before approved of anyone. We spent the night together, and it was hard to see her leave. Susan and Carrie aimed to leave the FDA on good terms. I listed the house on Monday, signed the divorce agreement Wednesday, and received the trust funds Friday. I watched the judge finalize the divorce. Melody didn't show. I picked up my assistant and showed him the new bar layout. He agreed to manage it for $75,000 a year plus a 10% bonus based on net income. Charlie's Bar and Grill was born. 3 years later, Corbett and Sullivan accounting firm thrived, while Charlie's Bar and Grill became a local favorite. Meanwhile, Melody and Payne's marriage crumbled in court as she caught him with her best friend. Despite this, her family remained distant. The birth of our twins brought joy amid life's challenges. Carrie playfully named me during labor pains, and we proudly introduced our red-haired babies to our relatives.
Thanks for hanging out with me on today's episode. Brother, I'm Jack, host of this podcast, and it's great having you here. If today's story hit home, send it on to a buddy who might need it. Remember, we're all in this together, turning life's curvy balls into wins. If you have an opinion or story to share, then drop a line in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out. Until next time, keep your chin up and keep pushing forward. Stay strong, folks.